This is CHH My Radio 580 AM, locally operated, locally owned, your own radio station, My Radio 580 AM, bringing Albertans together.
Yeah, we're back. After the news hour. That's right. A little bit of Jagged Edge. Ron DMC was on that track.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Classic. Jermaine Dupri.
When music was music.
Oh, no. Like when I tell you we paying homage to the golden age of hip-hop, I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Was not lying. I know some of y'all at home bouncing some of this music today.
You remember where you were when you first heard it?
That's right.
All the things.
What club you were in.
Yep.
All the stuff.
Yep. How you were dancing. Who you were dancing with.
Who you dancing with.
What you wore.
No, but it is after 8 o'clock.
It is.
It is our first go at the hour of violence this year, 2025.
Oh, boy.
And for you that don't know what we mean by the hour of violence, if you're tuning in for the first time, is where we nominate someone and give them the prestigious award of being the north end of a southbound donkey. Because they've done something truly asinine, truly ridiculous, truly deserving. Truly deserving of that coveted sound.
Yeah.
And, you know, there were a couple people that I had on the list this week. And one stood out yesterday to the point of pissing me off that I emailed Danny last night saying, this person's pissing me off.
And I'm like, what would this person do? And I started watching. I couldn't even get past 5 minutes.
And you got pissed off too.
I couldn't even get past 5 minutes. I was like, I don't know how you watched this whole thing.
Yeah. And we're referring to a conversation with one Jordan B Peterson. He is he has a podcast. He's a psychologist by trade. He's been in the political sphere and media for many, many years. Kind of rose to fame around 2010.
Yep.
He considers himself not a conservative, but a bastion of old English politics.
Anyway.
Yeah. Translation to that, he's a colonizer, colonialist, mental thinking, north end of a southbound colonist. All right. And he had a sit down this week with with Pierre Poilievre, the opposition leader. And Pierre Poilievre is who he is. Like him or don't like him, he is who he is. He's consistently the same person.
Yeah. Hasn't changed.
Right?
You get what you get.
You know what you get with Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah.
Consistent. And you know what? I can respect the fact that he is who he is.
We know what we're getting when we vote for him.
Exactly.
We know.
You know, when you interview him, when you talk to him, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
He's on message. He's on his brand all the time. And he's on business about it. I can appreciate that.
You don't care.
Like him or not like him, it doesn't matter. He is it. This Jordan B. Peterson dude, though. I'm going to take my sunglasses off.
Oh. Glasses are coming off.
Glasses are coming off. And I'm looking at the camera because I want, whenever he sees this, that I'm looking in his little beady eyes.
Oh, I'm going to look over here.
And tell him to his face that you are a disgrace and a moron when it comes to interviewing people. Like the stuff that he was putting out there was absolutely crazy. This man went as far and in the interview to have a whole diatribe and talking about, well, I lived in Toronto, and Toronto has never, ever in its life had a race problem. And it's only been recent, and it's only been brought in by the woke people that's created this whole question of race in Toronto.
What I want to say, I can't say.
Can't say directly into the mic. Yeah. Oh, no, what I want to say, I can't say directly into the mic either. We'll be deplatformed. But Jordan Peterson, let me ask you a question. When I moved to Toronto in 1995, after high school, and I'm in Toronto, and living in Flemington Park, and the police show up every September for Roundup Day, where what they did is they grabbed any young black man over the age of 18 and took him down to 51 precinct because they figured they must know something about something. That's not racism to you, is it? The indigenous community that have been living with the whole residential school things all the way up until the 1990s. Oh, that's got nothing to do with racism, does it? Now, my good friend Margie, who I reference on the show all the time, her dad was a lawyer, a top lawyer in the Philippines, moved his family over here to Canada, to Toronto, couldn't get a job beyond a security guard. But that's got nothing to do with racism. And God bless her mom, who had an MBA from one of the top universities in the Philippines at a time when nobody had MBAs, couldn't get anything more than a clerical job in a City of Toronto office. That had nothing to do with racism in Toronto. No, did it? But Toronto has always been racially blind.
Always.
And it's just a new thing. And it just got here. You know, people like you, Jordan B. Peterson, are part of the problem. You're not a solution. You gaslight people. You tell people foolishness. You mislead them with false information. There was so much false information that he was putting out there in that interview, leading Pierre Poilievre to want to agree with him. So much nonsense. And I'm like, how do you call yourself a journalist?
How is he still?
How is he still relevant?
How is he not fired?
I don't get it. But we don't need people like that chewing up airtime and unduly influencing people with nonsense. Yeah, one of the things he talked about was, let's talk about the housing crisis. Well, let's build more homes and get rid of immigration, because that will solve the housing solution. And then you look at the comments and people are like, well, you know, supply and demand, you build more homes. And it's like, you have misled people to not even understanding what some of the root causes of some of the problems that we're facing are. Because you consistently put out false information, false narratives. You allow the people in power to put out these false narratives, and you don't challenge them with the truth. So what is the point?
Yeah.
And like I said, half the stuff that's in my brain, I can't say it because we need to be platformed.
That's why I'm very quiet, because I can't say much.
Right? You want to talk about racism is not a thing in Canada? Hey, guess what? We live in the fantastic city of Edmonton. But here's one truth, Jordan B. Peterson. Do you know City Hall has never had a black person in there? Ever?
Ever.
It's never had a black city councilor, black mayor, nothing. Our community has never been represented.
Yeah.
Right? So, quite frankly, Jordan B. Peterson, if you want to take your colonialist view of what is it to be in Canada, if you want to take your privileged view of your high society, I am better than thou attitude of living in Canada, guess what? You can hop on a plane, you can go somewhere, go kick rocks, get your own private island. I don't care. But there's a huge portion of us over here that don't agree with you, don't want nothing to do with you, and really wish you wouldn't come back on the air ever again.
Let's hope that actually comes to fruition.
I hope it does come to fruition.
Yeah.
Because you are, without a doubt, starting off the year as the biggest north end of a southbound donkey I have ever seen. And you're going to get one of these.
Times 10.
Times 10. No one's ever let me take my sunglasses off live on air. That should tell you how mad I am when I watched this whole thing yesterday.
I'm surprised you got through it.
I got through it because I was like, how far does this rabbit hole go?
I couldn't get past 5 minutes.
Oh no, I had to
I
like,
couldn't.
no, I had to be like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like I was just like, what is this guy? Like I said, Pierre Poilievre and his views and his point. I've heard his views. I don't agree with some of them. Some of them I agree with. Some of them I disagree with.
Yeah.
But I know where he's coming from.
Right.
Right. But if you're an interviewer, your job is not to lick the boots of whoever you're interviewing. Your job is to ask questions.
Yeah.
Your job is
Push
to
the
challenge
envelope.
questions.
Yeah.
Your job is not to give your personal opinion on what you think this thing is as a diatribe before even getting to the question.
No. How did Poilievre take his questioning?
He was very strategic. Where some stuff he left well enough alone.
Okay.
Like when he was like there was a point where Jordan B. Peterson made this snarky remark about minority groups in Canada wanting equity. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, yeah, the racial equity. And Pierre Poilievre just kind of like, let that one slide.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. When he talked about the whole racism in Toronto, he slid a little bit to the left and just kind of let it.
Okay.
He wasn't engaging in that.
He wasn't engaging. Okay.
He's like, I ain't engaging in that.
Okay. Okay, so he's very strategic.
Yeah, to his credit, he's like, I ain't.
Right.
I ain't about to respond to that. I ain't about. Let's move. Let me get my talking points in here.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I ain't mad at the leader of the opposition. Mm-hmm. Right. If I ask him those questions and challenge him on the questions, I know what I'm going to get from him.
Right.
But this Jordan B. Peterson dude, like he was on a mission to just show everyone how much of a bigot and out of touch north end of the southbound animal he is. And congratulations. Mm-hmm. You showed us who you are.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, we'll see what happens after this, I guess. When was this? Was this a recent interview?
Yeah, this happened this week.
This week. Okay. Interesting. Well,
this happened this week. And the interviews had over 1 million views on YouTube so far.
Wow. That's crazy.
Well, because it's like
so left out of
yeah, like either some people agree with him and then some people are like furious about it. Mm-hmm. Like there's a whole thing.
Right.
And like the misinformation in there was just like mind blowing.
Right.
You know, they were at one point they were talking about left wing and right wing partisan politics in Canada. Mm-hmm. And they were talking about far rights and far lefts. And I'm sorry. There is no far right or far left party in Canada.
Very true.
There is no far right. There is no far left. Mm-hmm. They're pretty much all in the middle.
Mm-hmm. No, legit.
Right? And so putting out these narratives and misleading people, for heaven's sake, stop it.
That's never going to stop. We all know that.
And it's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, well. It's out there, so now it's for the world to, as you said, there's people that are mad and there's people that agree.
Yeah.
So just for
and there's some people that are indifferent.
Yeah. On that note.
That's all I gotta say about that guy.
Yeah.
I'll put my glasses on back.
Glasses back on?